What up, perps? Kid Copious, back in effect. Purple State Party, you know what we're doing here? We're repping America, the center, and common sense. And that's what we need more of in this country, common sense. I'm not saying that the Republicans have all the answers. What I'm saying is the Democrats, as it stands right now, they don't have any answers for the things that really need to be fixed. They may be right about a lot of things, but those are not the things that are at play right now. That's not where our focus needs to be. Our focus needs to be on getting this country back on some sort of stable footing. You know, working Americans shouldn't have to struggle as much as they should. Look up the term Alice. This is America. We shouldn't have a bunch of Alices here. People should be pursuing the American dream. But let me tell you something about the American dream. Much like fixing America, the American dream requires a lot of fucking effort. And that's all I'm asking from our politicians. A little bit of effort mixed with some common sense. How bad could that be? Let's get this show popping. All right, we're going to kick things off here with the legendary Bronco. This guy really knows how to sum up things in a comic strip, don't he? The LGBTQ for Palestine, LGBTQ in Palestine. Whatever. I'm not talking about the bigger issue. What I'm talking about here is the fact that this is not common sense here. This is a pure example of the tribalism that is taking over politics right now. You know, I stand against abortion. I will tell the Republicans you are wrong about abortion. I am not so loyal to any one party that I'm going to pretend that everything they do is roses. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing people around this country chanting death to America. We're seeing migrants coming over here and thinking that it's Somalia or what, China, or whatever country they came from. This is America. We have ideals. We have a dream of people coexisting and being able to thrive. Okay, Palestine, unfortunately, the Muslims over there, especially the radical ones, have a very perverted anti-American way of thinking. And that's affecting our people now. That's fine if you're gay and you want to vote Democrat, that's fine. But that doesn't mean you have to take Hamas's side. Another thing that really upsets me is when the truth comes out and everybody just kind of ignores it, or it's glossed over, or it's hidden, or it's contextualized to the point where people aren't getting the point. This comes from Prager U. You can disagree with Prager U all you want. I disagree with him when I disagree with him. If I disagree with Prager U, I do not say, well, that point's correct because Prager U said so. All right? That's the tribalism bullshit, and I don't like that. That's why I'm purple, okay? On March 27th, 2024, CBS and NBC posted these two articles. CBS says, Earth is spinning faster than it used to. Clocks might have to skip a second to keep up. NBC News, melting polar ice is slowing the Earth's rotation with possible consequences for timekeeping. Prager U sums that up with this little gem right here. Earth rotation is slowing. Earth rotation is accelerating. All the wealthy climate scammers hoping you're not paying attention. See, if climate change was this existential crisis that it's being made out to be, then we wouldn't have contradictory information coming in. There would be some consistency in the things that we're seeing. People would be applying some common sense to it. And certainly, I believe, other countries would be acting differently. Okay? This is a money-making scheme. They have monetized a change in the way the earth functions. That's something that happens all the time. LA used to be able to support giant mastodons and saber-toothed tigers. The Sahara were wetlands, grasslands, even jungles. But Earth does one of those, and things change. It's scary, and I guess if you find comfort in believing that man is responsible for all of this, then you believe it can be fixed. The truth of the matter is we are at the mercy of the earth. We are at the mercy of the sun. We are at the mercy of the solar system. Okay? Mars affects what goes on in our oceans. The moon affects what goes on in our oceans. The sun, geez, if we lose the sun, it's all over. Okay? That's the way the universe works. It is beyond anybody's control. And you just have to accept it. One of the things about living in California that I've learned is I think about earthquakes. I try to not put myself in positions where an earthquake would be catastrophic. In other words, I don't like driving on some of the bridges that we have, some of the overpasses that are, 50 feet in the air, 100 feet in the air. I don't really like being on those. But day to day, I can't worry about earthquakes because it's beyond my control. There's going to be no warning. And that's the earth. The earth is Mother Earth, man. She can do whatever the hell she wants. But I said contextualize. And one of the places where a lot of people get their news and their opinions on the news, their analysis of the news, is from NPR. And this is not surprising, but it really pisses me off. 25-year veteran journalist of NPR publicly criticized its extreme left-wing bias. He was suspended for 5 days without pay and has now resigned. Now, right now, in college campuses across America, we are having some very anti-Jewish, anti-Israel protests where they are harassing Jewish students. And the schools could do something about it. Some are finally choosing to do something about it. But here at a news organization, if you bring up a bias, you're suspended. And that's where people are getting their news analyzed. This is from Yuri Berliner. An open-minded spirit no longer exists within NPR. And now, predictably, we don't have an audience that reflects America. Yeah. There is an outspoken consensus, he says, about the stories we should pursue and how they should be framed. It's frictionless, one story after another, about instances of, pay attention here, supposed racism, transphobia, signs of the climate apocalypse, Israel doing something bad, and the dire threat of Republican policies. See that? That's what they do. That's what NPR does. That's what MSNBC does. That's what CNN does. That's what Fox News does. And we can do something about it. Later on, we're going to discuss watching something to fix a problem. But this is about not watching. It's time for the average American to just shut off these news things. Get your news somewhere else. Get your news somewhere. I personally like an app called Smart News. I use Instagram too. I read the comments and then I do some research. Okay? I want an open debate. I don't want to be on the wrong side. NPR is pushing an agenda. Yuri went on to say, in D.C., where NPR is headquartered, and many of us live, I found 87 registered Democrats working in editorial positions and 0 Republicans. And he presented this to an all-hands editorial staff meeting. And he's just simply trying to point out, look, we have a bias, okay? There's a difference between having a bias and being biased. But this is a bias. When the editors are 100% Democrat, what do you think the articles are going to read like? We're not going to hear the truth about these things. They've done it recently where they've tried to make a story out of Caitlin Clark, or they try to make a story out of that guy that was shot, 96 shots, right? You want to try to spin these stories to move your agenda, to control the narrative. That's all what's known as propaganda. But he was suspended for simply bringing up the fact that NPR, which is publicly funded, is slanted. And yes, taxpayer-funded NPR has targeted the very place where I got this article, Prager U. Prager U is a conservative video giant. Okay, they are. Okay? Not everything they say I take to heart. That's for sure. I don't believe a lot of what they say. Okay? I don't like the way they frame certain things. I don't like the way they say certain things. We can have a discussion without being nasty. And sometimes Prager U is nasty, but a lot of times they are very insightful. They bring on different people. They are not afraid of the conversation. That's the one strength that Prager U has. Okay? They're not afraid of the conversation. And that's what we need. That is America. America is a discussion. America is compromise. America is about trying to figure out what works. Right now, all we're doing is copying Europe. Europe has socialists throughout their government. They do something, it fails, we say maybe we can do it better. And every time it fails, I'm not going to bring up those things, but we already know. Immigration, green energy, migrants. We can look at Europe and see how these ideas have failed. Okay? Let's have a discussion. Prager U is not the brown shirts that you see on college campuses supporting Palestine. The Democrats, the liberals, the lefts, the neo-Marxists, those are the people who would rather shut down opposition than converse with them. The Trump trial here, let the prosecution begin. And as you can see, everybody's swayed against Trump. The New York justice system get Trump, right there. Another Bronco, double shot of Bronco right there. Hillary Clinton condemns Trump for paying hush money to political liabilities instead of just killing them. Trump legal team skeptical about impartiality of juror number 6. Well, here's some things, okay, about the Trump trial. First of all, he paid some hush money. The lawyer paid some hush money. And Trump paid the lawyer back through retainers, okay? Yeah. Hillary right there, her husband, Bill, had a thing with Paula Jones, and they did the same thing. First of all, these are misdemeanors. Misdemeanors whose statute of limitations have run out. But because of the good old pandemic, they had a 1-year extension, so they're able to file the charges. Now, what they did over in New York is instead of charging them as misdemeanors, which they were, they charged them as felonies. And to make the number bigger, each payment that Trump made to his lawyer is being charged as a separate felony. So 1 check a month, 3 years, 3 times 12, 36, bam, 36 felonies. The problem is that this is selective application of the law. It's overcharging. This trial is dead on arrival. It will be overturned, okay? It will be overturned on appeals. There are a lot of legal problems with this trial. But that's not what matters to them. They want to convict him. And then, when it's overturned, they can hush it up. And the only people who will mention that it was overturned are people like me or Fox News. And you could discredit Fox News because it's Fox News and they're the Nazis. And you could discredit me because I'm a weirdo in a costume who smokes weed and talks politics. But the truth of the matter is, this will be overturned. It's a waste of time and money. And it's a gross misuse of the justice system to try to affect an election. Pure and simple. White House calls in Elmo to explain latest global conflict to president. Babylon B back in full effect here. Love that one. Rashida Tlaib condemns violence against innocent Iranian missiles. Yeah, the Iranians launched like 3,000 missiles and very few of them got through. Israel retaliated and boom, took out the air defense for a nuclear site. Yeah, that's how you deter. Joe Biden thought that Netanyahu should take the win on destroying the 3,000 missiles, but you don't win. You don't win the battle of deterrence through defense. You win the battle of deterrence through offense. That's the way it works. Sorry, but that's the way it works. All but right, these idiot asses. I've often said that, I'm not red and I'm not blue. And part of that is that I have to admit, let me rephrase that. It's a pleasure to admit when the current administration does something right. This comes from an interesting website called The Cool Down. Margaret Wong wrote this. Biden administration announces unprecedented $6 billion to transform polluting industries. These projects offer solutions, which is usually a lot of shit. But in this case, it sounds pretty good. They're talking about the comfort of safe steel structures and scrumptious macaroni and cheese meals without considering how much pollution or how much their production can harm the environment. Okay, cool. So we've identified a few sources of some pollution. So this $6 billion is going to span various sectors, including steel, cement, and food production. Cement really is one of those things that does pollute, even when you use it. But manufacturing steel, and even food production are big producers of pollution. Okay, cool. I'm fine with a pollution-free world. I was in a Woodsy Owl commercial, for God's sakes. So what they're going to do here is they're allotting the $6 billion for 33 projects. See, I like that. You got a number, you've got a plan, you've got some substance to what you're about to do. You're not just willy-nilly like you were doing with the Inflation Reduction Act. This is one of the largest investments in reducing industrial pollution in the United States. Love it. This is great. They are going to, even, like they say here, even the iconic mac and cheese is undergoing a green revolution as Kraft Heinz plans to reduce carbon pollution from its production facilities through the adoption of clean technologies like heat pumps. Okay, this initiative, alongside others funded under the program, exemplifies a concentrated effort to marry environmental stewardship with economic growth. That's a plan. Electric vehicles are not a plan. Solar panels in Michigan is not a plan. Windmills that destroy our ecosystem out in the ocean are not a plan. This is a plan. Okay? Instead of saddling, and I'll tell you this right now, these mofo companies like Kraft Heinz, okay? You are in the spotlight now. You're going to get money to clean up your act. Do not raise prices to try to cover cleaning up your act. Do not try to double dip on this one. But this makes sense. Instead of forcing Kraft Heinz to reduce carbon pollution, the Biden administration wants to help them. One of the things I advocate for, I'm in the fire alarm business. I advocate that California should be setting aside money to help cities, counties, and businesses to upgrade their fire systems. Okay, I see a lot of, especially in LA, I see a lot of old, antiquated systems. I think this is something that should go nationwide. Our money should not be wasted on homeless people. It should not be, the street zombies, because if you're just truly homeless, I want to help you. If that's your only issue, let's fix it. But instead of these pet project, agenda-driven bullshit that we've seen places like California just waste money, the bullet train, just keep wasting money on stuff like that. Let's fix the things that need to be fixed. Of course, California ain't going to be able to do anything because they broke. California, man, it's as broke as a one-wheel bicycle. That would be a unicycle, wouldn't it? But you know what? That's broken. Speaking of broken, New York City block turned into an illicit open-air market for migrant crooks and prostitution. Yay. Because that's what you want on your streets, right? A stretch of Jackson Heights has devolved into an illegal migrant shopping district, an unchecked open-air market where everything from women to stolen goods can be had. The Post has learned. I'm glad you learned that. But they have... This is... Like it says right here, the migrant vendors hawking goods they ripped off from shopkeepers just steps away. Literally, there are businesses that are being robbed, burglarized, whatever term we want to use there. And just a few doors down, their stuff is being sold on the streets. And frustrated merchants and residents say they're helpless to do anything about it. This is the guy, Mia Pharmacy, Milton Reyes. It's relentless. You should see it on Saturdays. It's so heavy, you can't even step onto the sidewalk. There are a lot of doctor's offices right around here, and my customers don't even want to get dropped off because of the atmosphere. Where there's prostitution, there's pimps. When there's illegal migrants, there's illegal migrants who have nothing to lose and don't have the same set of values. That's scary, man. Why do good, honest, hardworking Americans have to live in fear? That should be priority one on the list. Safety. Feeling like that you could go about your day without just some random fuckwad punching you in the face. And look what it looks like. You can't get around it. It's right there. The police know what's going on. You know, going back to the guy from Mia Pharmacy, Milton here. He's like a lot of us. But I thought these people aren't getting the kind of opportunities they need to feed themselves. You know, they're trying to survive, whatever. About a year ago, there were 5 of them, starting at 10 in the morning. Then 10 of them. Then 20 of them all day. And at night, forget about it. It's just become normal. Unfortunately, this is what the right accused the far left of doing. Trying to turn our streets into chaos so that we have to rip the whole system down and rebuild it. I'm going to tell you right now, nothing will change if we rip the system down and then change it. The same shit's going to happen. They sell you a bag of lies. They sell you on the fact that their plan will result in an equitable society. It's not going to happen. Law enforcement blames soft on crime laws that severely limit what cops can do and cut low-level nonviolent offenders loose once they get to court. So in other words, you could just stock your supplies from the shop. You could just go into 7-Eleven, steal whatever you want. Nobody's going to do anything about it. If you get caught, it's a minimal sentence. You'll be back out. So you go to another 7-Eleven, steal your shit, and then you sell it on the sidewalk. The source from law enforcement said Roosevelt Avenue is a microcosm, a perfect storm composed of lunatic legislation that prevents enforcement of laws and the subsequent punitive results. If stealing a bottle of Gatorade would land you in jail, you're probably not going to steal the Gatorade. If the fines that are imposed, if the penalties that are imposed are too high, criminals will react to that. If you want to stop stolen guns, if you want to clean up the street violence, like especially that you see in Chicago, then make possessing a stolen handgun or an altered serial number or whatever, an altered gun, make that 10 years max, minimum. If you see a gun in a person's house that you are burglarizing, you should worry that taking that gun could get you 10 years, 20 years. The only way to stop crime is to scare the criminals. So it's the only way to clean up addicts, too. So recently, Caitlin Clark was drafted into the WNBA. Disclaimer, I don't watch the WNBA. I don't like basketball. Period. Okay? I don't. I watch soccer. I follow one male soccer player, Saka, from the Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan. Okay? As far as the females that I follow, oh my God. Lindsay Horan, Aslani, Blackstenius, my favorite, Rose Lavelle, Emily Fox, the Swedish team, the United States team, a couple Canadians, a few, Sam Kerr, a few of those people from Australia. I support women's soccer. And I'm here to tell you that women's soccer is growing by leaps and bounds. One of the advantages that the Europeans have is that the women's teams are associated with the male teams. There are days where I have watched both Arsenal and Lady Arsenal. Lady Arsenal. That's my team right there. Russo, another person that I follow. This is what they put out. Newsweek. Caitlin Clark's salary is lower than some NBA mascots. For Caitlin Clark to make only a fraction of what her male counterparts make is beyond outrageous. It's 2024. It's time to dismantle the gender pay gap and give women equal opportunity. Oh, the time to dismantle the gender pay gap and give women equal opportunity was years ago. Let's get it done now. Well, here's the problem. You're watching me right now on YouTube, okay? When you're done, you can go watch Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast makes millions of dollars. I make zero, okay? Why? Because I'm happy if I even get into double digits. Mr. Beast gets into double digits, millions. That's all it is. It's not because they're women. It's because they are playing in a league that doesn't make as much. They actually, the women in WNBA, make 0.16% of the league revenue. NBA players, the average salary of an NBA player equates to 0.096%. So they're getting a bigger slice of the pie, but the pie is pretty small. I mean, look at these numbers right here. In 2023, the WNBA made $200 million. That's up 200% from their 2022 number of $60 million. Meanwhile, the NBA is making $10 billion. $10 billion. It's a bigger pie. That's really what it is. But let's look at another little number here. $10 to $20 million. That's what Caitlin Clark's going to get paid from Nike. She's getting a base salary of $76,000. Raise your hand if you would play basketball for a yearly salary of $76,000. I don't even like basketball. I'm very pro-woman. I want to see them get their dues. But they are. Unfortunately, there's just not money in. If they were to pay Clark what they pay the average rookie in the NBA, right? They would only be able to pay about 20 players for the entire league. But if folks want WNBA players to make as much as the NBA players do, they need to put their money where their mouth is. Patronize the game, buy every jersey, drain your wallet at the concession stands. This author says, I have never in my life seen a kid, boy, or girl walking around the city with their favorite WNBA player's jersey on. Well, that's one reason why the Lakers should be the Lakers and Lady Lakers. I bet that's not the way we did it here. But that's what it is. And this, I want the ladies to make as much money as they can playing their sport. I watch the U.S. women's team play more than I watch the men's play, okay? I follow the Portland Thorns of the National Women's Soccer League. I do not watch men's soccer from America. It's crap. I watch the Europeans. I follow the ladies of Arsenal, Real Madrid, AC Milan, and wherever they pop up. I watch the She Believes Cup. I watch the Women's World Cup. I watch the women play in the Olympics. One reason, the American team is pretty good. The men's team, not so much. Pulisic, yeah, he's good, but the rest of the team is... But that's what needs to be done. And that's the part that upsets me, is that the article should be, look how much the women are starting to make. She's going to make about $10 million from Nike? Fucking yeah. That's fucking great. I want them all to. I was around for the Mia Hamm days, the Julie Foudy's. Okay, I was there, Brandy Chastain. All right? I'm glad that women in soccer are starting to make more and more money. I love the fact that a lot of them, that's their job now. They don't have to work a second job. But that's where the focus of the article should be, not trying to stir the pot. People angry about low WNBA salaries, prepared to do anything except watch WNBA. That's the bottom line. And the problem, honestly, with the WNBA versus women's soccer is in women's soccer, I don't see much of a difference in the way the game's played. All right? In the WNBA, it is different. It is slightly a different game. It's the same reason why I don't like watching college basketball. If I had to watch basketball, I'll watch the NBA. Okay? But to stir the pot on this, meanwhile, the very same people complaining about this pay gap are the people who advocate allowing biological males to join the ranks. Someday, if left unchecked, someday the WNBA could be all dudes. Will that make more money? Maybe. Does our society need to change the way that they view women's sports? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. If you like a sport, you should be able to watch. You should watch the women play it too. That's the way I feel. Fortunately, I'm lucky. All right, I'm one of the luckiest mofos on this planet because I am a soccer fanatic. So I don't really care if it's the Welsh girls or the Welsh team. I don't care if it's the American men or the American women. In fact, I do that. I prefer the women. Before I wrap this up, I just wanted to bring up this Babylon Bee. God agrees to let Norm Macdonald come back to Earth for one day to bless us with his OJ death jokes. I miss Norm Macdonald. I miss those days. I miss those days where comedians spurred the conversation. You know, I like Charlie Kirk. I don't agree with everything Charlie Kirk does, but I like the way he stimulates the conversation, where he takes on people who say, why are you a Christian? Why do you believe the Bible? And he provides his answers. You don't have to accept his answers. I like his answers. I like the way Norm really rubbed people the wrong way, man, because that's the way that you get inside your brain and you analyze how you feel about things. That's how you normalize things. I don't know where I would be today if it wasn't for my being able to make certain jokes. And I'm really good with the white people jokes, man, because I make sure I mix them in, because I'm not here to attack any one group. People like Norm Macdonald attacked all the absurdity that they saw in life. And if all you have now, especially on something like television, is comedians that sort of poke at Biden, but basically support him, but reframe Trump into somebody he's not, that shit ain't funny, man. And Norm Macdonald, man, peace up there, man. You were a funny fucker, man. You were one of my comedy inspirations. You've been gone for a while now, but I'm really glad Babylon Bee brought you back. It's about the conversation, so it's about mixing conversation, common sense, thinking for yourself. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get people to think for themselves. Look at me. This is not a society, it's a social construct. This is shit I came up with out of my own stupid mind, man. I thought myself genius, red and blue makes purple. Well, I'm Kid Copious. I'm Purple State Party. So are you, man. Be kind to one another. Make sure you drink your water. Try not to be stupid. And you know, when you see that dangerous bend symbol, dance it out.